If you're preparing for the Minnesota real estate exam, there are 3 state-specific topics that trip up more candidates than anything else: SSTS disclosures, well disclosures, and dual agency consent. Number 1, SSTS, which stands for Subsurface Sewage Treatment Systems. Minnesota requires 2 separate things here, and the exam tests them as 2 different topics. The seller has to disclose what they know about the sewage system. That's the SSTS disclosure. Then a licensed professional has to conduct a separate compliance inspection. Different people, different forms, different purpose. The exam will ask you which one is the seller's responsibility and which one requires a licensed professional. Don't mix them up. Number 2, well disclosures. Minnesota is one of the few states that requires 2 separate well disclosures at 2 different points in the transaction. Before the purchase agreement is signed, the seller must disclose the location and status of every known well on the property. Then at closing, a separate well disclosure certificate is required. 2 documents, 2 deadlines. The exam will test whether you know which form is required before the purchase agreement and which one is required at closing. Number 3, dual agency consent. Every state handles dual agency differently, but Minnesota has a specific rule that catches people off guard. When a broker represents both buyer and seller, 3 categories of information stay confidential: the price a party is willing to accept, the terms they'll agree to, and their motivation. The exam will give you a scenario and ask what the dual agent can share. If it falls into price, terms, or motivation, the answer is that the agent cannot disclose it without written authorization. These 3 topics show up consistently in the state portion of the Minnesota exam. They're not trick questions. They're testing whether you learned Minnesota's specific rules or just studied generic national material. At the Real Estate License Professor, we break down the exact rules Minnesota tests. No filler, no generic material, just what you need to pass.